Hello and welcome to another Writerly Wittering's 5-minute review. Today the review is about Ava Hudson's Shoot First, which is the 5th in her Ingrid Skyberg series. Fascinating, really good book, to my embarrassment. This book first came to my attention in about 2013. And the reason why was because the lady who was writing it contacted Mark Bellingham and said, "Can you help me with some firearms problems?" And Mark said, "No, but I know a bloke who can." So Mark put her through to me, and I was able to give her some advice on things like what sort of cartridge would be feasible, what sort of gun would be possible to get used in the UK now that pistols are banned, etc. Because this is not written actually by Eva, owing to the fact that Eva very sadly died. So what happened was, well, let me just read a little bit from the back. Eva was born and raised in London, worked as a local government worker, web editor, .com entrepreneur, artist and singer. In 2011 she won the Lucy Cavendish Prize for Fiction for her first novel, The Loyal Servant, which I think was the first in the series of Ingrid Skyberg. And it was also shortlisted for various other things. Tragically, Eva died after completing the 4th book in the series. This book was left as an unfinished manuscript with extensive notes for future Skyberg adventures. It was completed by her long-term editor and collaborator, Jo Munro. So this was written by Eva in draft form, I believe, and then Jo Munro took it over. Does it show? God, no. Actually, this is a really well written, very, very well edited book. Anybody who's watched some of my past comments on books, such as the latest Harry Bosch book by Michael Connolly. I like Harry Bosch books. I like Michael Connolly, not only as a writer, he's a thoroughly nice bloke, but that one was really badly edited. Almost non-existent proofing, I think. This, I didn't pick up a single typo. Nothing grammatical, nothing spelling-wise, nothing of any problems whatsoever. I like that. This book is not produced by a mainstream publisher. Look, no imprint. Just evahudson.com. Which means, I think, that this has been self-published to a large extent by Jo Munro. It said that she was a collaborator. I assume she was Eva's main editor. Whether or not that's true, this book has been stunningly well produced. So stunningly well produced, I'd be tempted to go there myself. Very nicely done. Not only is it well produced in terms of editing and so on, it's nicely produced in terms of cover. Really nice matte cover. I have read this book. You wouldn't actually tell it from looking at that. No creases, no crackles, nothing. Really well produced paperback. So I was impressed with that. And as people who watch this site know, I am quite serious about decent packaging for books. I think it's important. So, did I enjoy the book? Yes, I did. It starts off, it says here, a teenage girl disappears after witnessing a gangland murder in Chicago. 9 months later, and heavily pregnant, she arrives in London. Well, actually, that's because she's come to London because she is the surrogate mother for a gay couple living in London. These two were somewhat surprised when she suddenly turned up on their doorstep because they thought she was still living out in the deepest America looking after their projected baby. However, 8.5 months pregnant, she suddenly turns up in London at their house. They entertain her, and then that night, well, very early in the morning, she disappears. And they're distraught. They don't know what's happening to their baby. They don't know what's happened to the surrogate mother. And so they contact a friend of theirs who happens to be the ambassador to London. So the poor old FBI operative, Ingrid, gets lumbered with the job of trying to find out what's happened to this young girl. But that's just the start of a number of interesting... I mean, there's a lot of different plot lines wound up in this. I picked it up and yes, it's one of those books I couldn't put it down. I say that a lot. I like books, I like reading, but very engaging characters, really entertainingly put together plot. It's basically a really convincing, good read. I'd recommend it. It's different. It's not the same as, let's say, a Frederick Forsyth or something. It's not a really fast-moving Day of the Jackal type plot. It's more of a thoughtful detective plot. But there's nothing wrong with that. There's space in the world for both types. Fairly cosy read, I'd say. It's not particularly noir. So if you like detection stories that are quite straightforward, not too black, but fairly gritty, this is probably a cup of tea. I really enjoyed it. Anything I didn't like about it? No, it's really good. My only shame is that, as I said, Joe Munro contacted me about 2013 to ask me questions about this. This was published in 2015, and this is the first opportunity I've had to read it, because my to be read pile and my books for research pile are both too high. So I'm embarrassed that it's taken so long to read it, but I've thoroughly enjoyed it. Highly recommended. Enjoy it. Thanks a lot for watching. If you'd like to help me feed my reading habit, go to the Patreon link down the bottom and you can spend $2 a month or something pathetic. And don't forget to like, subscribe, share, put in any comments you've got on the bottom. And now I'm going to sneeze. That's better. Speak to you soon. Take care. Cheers.